I'm gonna talk about a bunch of things today. No, I'm not going live with some people today, okay? Maybe later. Sorry, guys.
Hmm?
His name is the retard 21. Okay. Today we're gonna talk about inflation, obviously. Is it transitory? Um, we're still waiting for our guests on the show. We have Neo here again,
Hey.
and yeah,
Oh, I just want to say hey.
and yeah, and throughout the show, I will, make sure to answer questions you have. I'll try my best, and yeah, or you can just join us on Discord. Hey, you're a moderator, right?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can mute people, yeah.
Okay.
I would say you start the introduction once we just start talking,
Okay. What do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about inflation, transitory? You want to talk about that first, or do you want to talk about like you are the meme stonk ambassador? So, what do you want to talk about? Oh, look, someone joined. Wait, hang on. How do you
But he's
unmute?
mute.
How can I unmute him? Nino joined.
He has to turn on his mic.
Oh, I see. He has to do that.
I believe so.
Okay. Hello, amigo. So yeah, throughout the show, so I'm live on TikTok as well. So it doesn't matter if you are on the Discord, you just won't be able to hear what others are saying, or you won't be able to see the screen. But throughout the show, I will try to answer your questions you sent me on TikTok, and then we can discuss them together. I'm just figuring out what we should talk about first. Like, you want to talk about this, like inflation first? Like, it's also like more like a hangout. Like we've never been like hanging out
Yeah.
like this. So it's up to you guys. Like whatever you guys want to talk about. Actually, I'm ready. I opened my stuff here. My papers are ready, so you can ask me anything, and we can just talk about it.
I have a hard time staying silent, so I can talk a lot.
Yeah,
So
it's
if you
fine.
don't know like what you want to talk about, I can just start going.
Yeah, we are. So yeah, we are on Discord. So join me on Discord. It's the first link in my bio.
So El Nino, in
But
case
but you can't. Sorry, I'm just gonna tell people. So my guest on the show today is El Nino, Neo, Neo Retro, and some other guy. I don't know what he wants to call himself. I doubt he's gonna come. But everyone else, like, you can join the chat, but please don't go into the voice thing before asking, okay? Because I will mute you. So, but if you want to talk or something, we can do it at the end of the show. But I first want to talk to our guests and let them talk as well, okay? So yeah, sorry, what did you want to say?
yeah, El Nino, we can't hear you in case you wanted to say something. So it looks like your mic is muted from your side. I just wanted to mention that. But if you don't want to say anything, that's what you want to have.
Someone joined. Arab Capitano. Hey man, how are you? Thanks for joining. He's on the chat. So El Nino, man, you have to unmute yourself. It's okay, we can start. He will figure it out.
No, he just texted me. He said he didn't know that we also have to talk.
Oh, okay, that's up to you. You don't have to talk.
Yeah, you don't have to talk. Yeah, it's just if you
Wait.
want to, you can just listen.
Yeah, you can just listen if you want. You can just text. It's up to you, man. Because we're live, okay? Just to let you know. Like, people are watching. It's up to you. All right, so what did you want to talk about, Neo? Let's start with that.
Yeah, so so about meme stocks, right? I have this suspicion, and I just got this idea, and I haven't done much research, that the that the that there's like different algorithms, and that people are trading according just to what the Fed is gonna do.
Okay.
That the entire stock market right now is moving to whatever people think the Fed is gonna do. And so I think that meme stocks are in the inflation is not transitory camp.
Right.
Because they believe that due to the pandemic and stimulus and all that, commodities went up. And with all of that, meme stocks also went up. So I think that there's a big chunk of the equities market that trades meme stocks, commodities, energy, and oil, according to the belief that inflation is transitory, that it's going to go away on its own, that all of this is going to crash. That commodities is going to crash, that all these meme stocks are going to crash. And for that reason, they all behave the same way. And that's why I have the picture on Discord. You can see energy and GameStop moving in similar motions because they react.
Where's the picture? Do you put it in the general chat?
I put it into the line chat. I'll post it on the...
Yeah, put it in the general chat because...
I'll post it in the general chat. 1 second. So they behave similar.
Oh, here we go.
In some ways. Even the first big squeeze of GameStop was triggered by an increase in inflation. And I think that's odd. So, and it actually backs the idea that GameStop has not short squeezed yet, and that was just a gamma squeeze. So,
guys, can you hear me?
Hey, El Nino. Yeah, we can.
How's it going? Sorry, yeah,
Hey.
I'm connected through my computer, so I've just connected through my phone now, so now I can talk because I don't have a mic on me at the moment.
No problem. We can hear you just fine.
Cool. You guys go ahead. I'll chip in as you guys talk.
Sure. But first, do you want to introduce yourself or?
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm Ryan. I'm actually from South Africa.
Oh.
Yeah. So I wasn't actually sure about the times earlier. So it's quite late in the morning, but I stay up quite late because I do a lot of crypto as well. I also have financial advisor background. I'm used to like stocks and equities. And yeah, more recently, obviously in crypto. Yeah, that's basically who I am. Short little background about me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you okay in South Africa?
Yeah. No, that's if you saw on the news, the protests are in Durban. So I'm not in Durban.
Oh, I see.
So, yeah, but who knows what will happen.
Oh, good. I don't know. For some reason, I just didn't meet enough people from South Africa. I thought you are from Australia or something.
No. I don't know why you thought that, but yeah.
Just the accent. I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe.
All right. Yeah, so we're talking about... Can you see that picture that Neo shared?
Yes. Spikes and drops.
Yeah, it's... I mean, like, I will let him finish, but it's very prevalent that they move together and their algorithms or bots, whatever they use, they're linked to the cycle and they're linked to each other somehow, which I want him to explain a little further what he thinks about it.
Okay, great.
I mean, just to sum it up, I think that they believe all the inflation that's happening right now is completely transitory, and it's all going to crash. And with the crash of commodities, meme stocks will crash, and that's why they move together. And they because they see the rise of commodities and meme stocks as a rise due to COVID and that certain event. And as that goes away, they will their bots will trade accordingly. That's at least my assumption from what I'm seeing.
I know for a fact that the bots they're trading according to the cycle. So like every time, okay, look, the Fed is heavily involved in what's going on in the markets, right? Especially after 2008 and especially now. But the bots, those mutual funds use, like first what they will trade up, or when something goes up, the first signals they use is tech. And that's also a big reason why tech goes up first. And then commodities will follow. So Just a heads up for you guys for next week. After this bloodbath this week in commodities, I'm probably gonna fully recover by the end of next week. Just because of that. Yeah,
So,
but it's
yeah, if I can add a point, like I know I've been asking you. I'm not sure what your name is. Goldline.
Goldi. You can just call me Goldi.
Goldi.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been asking you about commodities quite a bit because I obviously want to get in, and I know particularly the commodities that are on offer here, like palladium and platinum and rhodium, particularly moved really well over the since that Corona crash or mini crash last year, and then I would say over the last 2 months, even it's taken quite a dive. So I'm basically at a point where I'm thinking, hey, when should I get back in? But so I'm out the commodities market at the moment. I took profits earlier in this year, but yeah, I'm just not sure when to get in because it just keeps going down.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm all in commodities. Like all I own is commodities and real estate at the moment. And same with Neo. He owns like gold miners and commodities as well. So like, how to explain? What should I start? All right,
you guys
so
both have
yeah.
gold and silver as well.
Yeah, so I personally own gold and silver. Yeah, and like physical gold and silver. And also I'm also invested in gold miners too. I mean, basically like they're a real estate company, but they rent it out to mining companies that look for resources, and they've been doing really well. And also, like, just to get back at your question, so you saw the run in like in oil since January. It's like up like 39% or something. So I did really well, and I made good profits. Like I almost doubled the S&P. But at this point, like, that's what I wanted to talk about with Neo. It's just like, I think it's just a panic. That's like, when does it go down? Like the past 3 months, it went down exactly on the day of when Jerome Powell made its comments. The day of, like the same week, the few days where the Fed makes a comment that, they might raise rates, blah, blah, blah. People panic, and all they know, that's just how it looks to me. That's all they know the stock market is tech. And if that doesn't work, then they just cash out or go to bonds. And that's what we have seen the past 3 months. Whenever the Fed made a comment, whenever Powell made a comment about inflation, people expecting, like reading the hints that the Fed might thinking about rising rates, there's just this huge panic in commodities, especially oil. And I think that's the main reason why it's just like being crippled all the way. But next week, like, it always takes them like a week or two for the people to go. Like we saw the 20-year yields going down, like because people buy, right? 20-year treasury yields, treasuries, and they spike together with the panic. So that just backs up my argument. And now they go down, and the weeks after, it usually fully recovered, and did pretty well right after. So next week, I expect, especially oil, to fully recover, at least by the end of the week, as the panic settles. So.
Neo,
Hey.
can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you, yeah.
Just with regards to your image you shared, the Vanguard and the GameStop. So I don't know if you do any crypto your side. I know Goldi doesn't, as far as I know. But so a lot of the time the talk is, when the crypto market's dropping, a lot of the retail investors are putting their money into GameStop, pump and dump type scenarios. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you feel that there also could be some correlation between that.
I think so, really. Yeah. I do think so, yeah.
So GameStop became a hedge against the market crash now?
It's almost like, so I don't know if you guys know, but in crypto, so when all the money flows into Dogecoin, you know, Elon Musk and everything, then the rest of the altcoins take a drop. So I don't know if it's a similar type of thing in stocks, where maybe it all goes to one specific share, and then every other one suffers at the same time.
So you mean when the markets drop? You mean like, and then people just
So, like,
put their money into GameStop or?
So for example, if not particularly now in the space now, but say 2-3 months ago, when Elon Musk would tweet something about Dogecoin, it would go up rapidly in price, say 20-30% in a day. And what would generally happen is the capital of retail investors would go from, say, Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc., into Dogecoin. So what I'm saying is, from what I've read as well, the same type of principle can maybe apply to shares like GameStop, where a lot of the retail investors almost pull together. I don't know if you obviously know of like that Robinhood, that whole thing that they did. I think that was with AMC as well. So I don't know if you guys also feel that there's also some correlation there.
Yeah,
Just
so
looking at that image.
like GameStop's beta is -2. So like that means that, you know, when the general market goes down, GameStop goes up by 2. Like if the market goes down by 1. So in the past, there was definitely some correlation, but generally GameStop does also trade with the market. It's really weird. I know there's a belief that people think that all these hedge funds and market makers will cash out on all their other assets to pay for that short squeeze in GameStop and AMC. However, it's not as strong as you might think, from what I've seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely some correlation, 100%. Like the
So-
you know, news and what's going on Reddit especially has definitely an effect on what's going on in the markets. Yeah.
So, for example, when energy grows really fast, the S&P will also grow because a lot of the big energy and oil companies are part of the S&P. But then GameStop would also grow. So then GameStop would grow with the S&P. But then on days where energy and retail stocks would go down in general, maybe tech can still grow, and then the S&P would still grow and GameStop not. So sometimes it has the illusion, oh, GameStop is an anti-market hedge, but it often just looks like that. Because you know, a lot of the traders, they look at Amazon, Apple, Tesla, and that's the market to them, right? They don't look at ExxonMobil as a big company. If you know what I'm trying to say.
Yes. No, totally get it. Yeah.
Hey, just quickly to go through the questions on TikTok. So one question is, what do you when do you think is the market crash? I mean, I'm getting this question like every time. We don't know. You can't know that, okay? Maybe the Delta variant or the Zeta variant will hit tomorrow or next week, and then we have a market crash. So you don't know that. But if you mean when will the Fed raise interest rates, which would be the main reason why there would be a market crash. I talked about this several times. The Fed cannot raise rates for several reasons, but I don't really want to go into this again. So not anytime soon, not this summer. I know for sure not this summer they're gonna raise rates. Probably not this year. They can't. Inflation is too high, because if you want to raise rates, you have to raise it above the inflation rate. Like, look back what happened in the 70s. In the 70s, they raised interest rates to 20% to fight inflation. 20%. If you do that today, if you have, like, let's say CPI is 5.4, sure. If you believe that CPI is an accurate measure and totally not, is an accurate measurement of inflation, then sure, you might be afraid of them raising rates. But if you look at the actual numbers of the actual things that went up, like commodities, like the exports and imports that went up to 18% exports, 18% imports 2 months ago, 11% exports this month. which is more than twice than what CPI is showing. Okay, so you can't just cherry pick the basket of assets from last year that you want to measure and compare to this year. And a third of the CPI, which I wanted to talk about too, which I talked about with Neo, is they're asking people how much do you think you should charge rent? How much should rent be in your area? And then they give that number. And a third of CPI is that number. It's an imaginary number which doesn't even exist. So if you want to raise rates, and if you want to raise rates above the inflation rate, above real inflation, if you would measure the things that actually went up, commodities, real estate, you have to raise them above 15, 18%. Okay? And that's not gonna fucking happen. If that happens today, that will not only hurt your little investments in your stock market, that will collapse the economy. And then what? You have to lower rates right again to help the economy come back up. They're not gonna raise rates in the middle of a recovery. They're not gonna raise rates for political reasons. It's the first year, the first term of the new president, and they're not gonna raise rates for economical reasons either. So none of these things apply or indicate that they will raise rates. They can't. And then the second question is red or green markets tomorrow. So I don't know. I wanted to ask you guys about that. What do you think?
So far, it's looking red, from futures market, and oil prices down, from what I can see.
Your oil price is down again? I didn't check.
I just checked now, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
China's down 0.5%. Japan's down 1.5%. Oil's down 1%. But it can change. It's still early.
Yeah, it could change, right? Like pre-markets, like doesn't mean anything. Like 11 o'clock suddenly goes back up, right? Yeah. So yeah, exactly. I would say green. I would say green because we saw like a little green indication on Friday, and then like oil dipped again. But yeah, I think it's gonna be green. I don't know. I'm on the green side. The overall market, of course. I don't know, like AMC or whatever you guys invest in.
Yeah, dollar is devaluing compared to other currencies, but Canadian dollar is devaluing faster than dollar. So.
Yeah, but if the dollar devalues, isn't that good for oil? Like, I mean, isn't that like another reason for getting into like oil and stuff?
It's also a good reason to get into Bitcoin. If the dollar strengthens, Bitcoin weakens, and the reverse.
Really? There you go.
Yeah. So the dollar was really weak the last few months. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously Bitcoin did that massive run, and then obviously now the last month or so, the dollar's been strengthening.
Let's have a look here.
Can
you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
You can? Okay, here you go. I have the dollar index here. So, I don't know. Looks like it's going up slightly. I don't know. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, how is this possible? Like, how is there no manipulation in this? You know, like, this should, like, devalue, like, more. I don't know. Look, it started here. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, look, like, 16th of July. 15th, 16th. Like, and then if you look, I'm like, if you look at oil prices around the same time period, let's have a look. You know what? Let's just. What the heck is this? Let me just quickly check. Crude oil prices. Let's see. I'm just curious. Just want to, see this with you guys. Overview. Crude oil 70%. So at the energy sector right now, energy ETFs are lower than crude oil itself. That's ridiculous. Wait, hang on. Oh God, what's this stuff? Crude oil chart.
Just go on investing.com. It's pretty good.
Okay, hang on, maybe here. Okay, investing.com. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, just go investing.com and then do the in the commodities section.
Okay, let's see.
Crude oil. There you go. WTI futures.
All right, let's have a look.
Oh, and India just dropped out.
Oh, really?
He's back.
Oh, he's back. Okay, good. All right, so let's have a look. 16th of what? When was that? Right here. Okay, so here, right? So let's see. June, right? June 15.
Mhm.
What's this? June 15, 16. Look, look, look. I don't know, man.
It always dips. It always.
It dips. Look, I mean, look. That's what I'm talking about. Like you can't go there. Like you see this dip here on the 16th, right? On the 18th? No, 16th and 17th, right? You saw the slight dip here, right?
Mhm.
And if you go here, 15, 16, 17, right? I mean,
Guys,
there you
hear me?
go. Oh yeah, we
Yeah,
can
now
hear
we
you.
can
We
hear
can
you.
hear you again. You just
Okay, cool.
dropped out for a bit.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So just from a technical point of view, I know that dollar is basically at a resistance in the charts.
Mm-hmm.
So it could obviously either break upwards further or could drop. But yeah, just from a technical charts perspective, that's where the dollar's at. And I also know obviously it's been strengthening over the last month because the currency that we have has been weakening.
It's look, even with all this money printing, the dollar is strengthening compared to other currencies. So like we are the smartest idiot on the short bus in the US. Because other countries like, print even more. So
It's not just that. It's also the United States has contracts with Europe and Japan and other countries that they have to keep their currencies always slightly elevated compared to the dollar, so that America always has, always has a like a slower valued dollar than the other countries. So it's better for imports, exports, and they can print more money. So they basically just force other countries to devalue or like not to appreciate their own currencies compared to the dollar.
hey, here's a question for you, Neo. So this guy's asking, do you do any day trading? So I know you made what 700% this year.
Yeah.
So do you wanna
Very-
talk about that a
very
little bit?
risky. But I've traded crypto miners
Crypto miners, huh? Interesting.
because they on good crypto news I just had a feeling that crypto would go up, but there was really undervalued miners and people pumped them really, and so they had much higher gains than cryptocurrencies. And I bought a bunch of Canadian crypto miners and just traded them. Whenever they had gains, I would sell, and
And you scalp, right?
yeah.
You scalped it. So you bought the shovels in the gold rush. You sold shovels in the gold rush, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I just wake up early in the morning. I check pre-market. If there's an upward trend, I buy. And then usually people pump them up. They jump like 10, 20% sometimes.
Yeah, like he's even saying Canadian miners are great right now. I'm in Bitfarms, and I know you talk about Bitfarms a lot.
Yeah, I bought Bitfarms at 40 cents and I sold at like $6.
Nice,
So
nice. Hey, wait, is El Nino still here?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just listening.
Oh, I see. Okay.
yeah, El Nino, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
What do you think of crypto going forward now? Like with the current market, do you think it's going to get manipulated into hell, basically, or is there going to be like a breakout?
I think, like, in order for the bull run to resume, there needs to be institutional investors coming on board. Because if we think about what happened in January, it hit a specific point and then it took off from there, but it only took off when Elon Musk announced that he was buying. So since then, obviously, you've been on a downward trend. And I just feel that institutions don't want to be buying Bitcoin at such expensive prices. So the outlook basically is we are going to dip further. The question is how much further. I think the price now is 31.5 thousand for one Bitcoin.
Yeah.
A lot of people think it depends on which technical analysis you look at, but if you look at Elliott waves, for example, on the fourth wave down, basically we need to hold $20,000 per Bitcoin for the bull run to continue. Obviously the market's very bearish at the moment, but in terms of from a fifth wave Elliott wave structure, 20,000 has to hold. So there's actually a lot of buy orders in the 20s at the moment.
Okay.
But yeah, there's just no volume at the moment. It's died off. There's a lot of fear in the market. There's a lot of like bad news out there. I know, for example, tomorrow, Janet Yellen's meant to be having some meeting with regards to there's a coin called Tether, which is basically meant to be the digital dollar to some extent.
Yeah.
Because yeah, actually, like there's actually they don't know how that actually works properly. So yeah, that's actually like bearish news. Because most people use the Tether to trade. You know, if you sell into cash, that's what you sell into. You sell into Tether. So just overall market sentiment is pretty bearish at the moment. But from what I understand from a technical point of view, as long as we hold $20,000 per Bitcoin, there's a possibility, obviously, for the bull run to continue. And that also, I guess, ties in with what Goldi said with regards to the interest rates, and they're not going to increase the interest rates because we also understand that if the stock market crashes, crypto would also crash maybe even further. So that then leads me to think, maybe it can continue. But I know that 20,000 is the key level to hold. Otherwise, it could take a few years. And by then, there might be so many regulations because it's not regulated at the moment. So we'll see what happens.
Goldi, we can't hear you.
I just muted myself. I'm just talking to like people are asking, oh, what are you guys listening to? And like just tell them like if you want to ask questions or something, you can join the chat in Discord.
Yeah, thanks for the explanation, Ryan.
What do you think? I mean, do you trade crypto at all? Your side, no?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I only trade the miners. But it's really a stupid reason because I don't like clutter. So I would like to keep my trades simple. So since I'm already doing stocks, I like to keep them. You know, I like to select stuff that I want to do, and then I want to focus on that. So if I add crypto to the mix, it's gonna confuse me.
Crypto's a different animal.
Exactly.
Lie. It's 24/7.
Yeah. So.
But what crypto do you guys think? Like, I mean, like, I mean, you guys know, like, I'm really not a big fan of crypto, but I don't say that crypto is not the future or anything. Like, I totally believe that some type of crypto or digital, like, ledger that is usable on like a large scale is definitely the future. I just don't think that the technology is ripe enough on one side, and I don't think that it's Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff like that. Especially not Bitcoin. Like it's, I don't know. Like Beanie Babies were a big thing in the 90s, and that died out, and now you can't sell your Beanie Babies anymore. But in terms of like crypto, like the tech crypto, like, you know, you can have a digital like ownership of something in that digital world on a blockchain, yeah, I totally think that's gonna be like a big thing in the future. I just don't think it's like, yeah, the technology is not ripe enough at the moment. What do you guys think? I don't know. I just want to hear.
So, just my opinion. I don't want to get too what's the word? Yeah, I don't know the word, but
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do know that with the whole Corona thing, they are going to look at digital currency. I know China has already been looking at it in the background. And I just feel like there's going to be a push for digital currency. I don't know in what form or how or what, but that's actually why I got into crypto, because I knew there was going to be a need for digital. I mean, if a lot of things these days are digital as it is, if you go to a shop, you don't even have to put your PIN anymore. You just swipe. The other day I went to, I don't know what it's like in your guys' countries, but I got ice cream from a shop and they accept no cash. So I know that there's going to be a push for like a cashless society, and I just think, and like, I don't want to sound, I don't know, I forgot the word now, conspiracy theorist, but, and I'm not that, but I just think that with the whole Corona thing, obviously touching people and things like that and everything, there's going to be a push for some form of digital currency. That's my opinion.
Do you mean hyperbolic? You don't like.
What do you mean by that?
Like the word you're looking for. Do you mean you don't want to be hyperbolic? Like, do you want to exaggerate or?
No. I found the word. That's like a conspiracy theorist.
Dude, like we are. Dude, you can literally say anything you like here. It's.
No. I'm just saying.
Really.
I'm saying I'm not being a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that with Corona, I just feel the governments are going to use that to tie into having digital currency.
I mean, 100%. Yeah.
I don't know if that will link to cryptocurrency per se, but I just feel like there will be something to do with that.
Yeah, 100%.
I personally really like Ethereum or the idea behind Ethereum, because I think people have to get that currency to put stuff on the Ethereum network. So there's a utility behind it that can drive the price of Ethereum. So it has more value behind it than just like Bitcoin is a store of value for people, but you can't do more with it. But with something like Ethereum, you can really build like a digital world. So I think
exactly.
Yeah, I think that's the future. That like once crypto has that wide range utility, people will adopt it. Like once people see the utility in it, then you don't have to pump it, right? People will use what is convenient for them and what has utility for them. So
yeah, that's my big thing with Bitcoin. Like I don't see the utility in it. Like what does it do for me? Like it's slow and like I don't know. There's like so many alternative coins I could use that do much better. Like I just don't. It's just a utility thing.
Like I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist or anything like that. But basically the thought process is that it's meant to be digital gold. So yes, it doesn't actually do anything. So I'm with you there.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I do know is if Bitcoin drops, all the other coins drop, and if Bitcoin rises, all the other coins rise. It's not like stocks where they work on their own or separately, which I guess isn't the greatest thing either.
Yeah, there's like Bitcoin is the coin, right? And if in Ether is the coin, but then there's also tokens that run on those blockchains.
Yes, on
right?
the Ethereum network. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have like
100%.
infinite numbers of tokens or whatever, but they run on that network. So obviously, if that network, like the ownership of that network drops, obviously then all the tokens will drop.
I know, for example, but they're going through a court case at the moment. XRP was designed. Ripple was designed to replace the SWIFT system. You know, SWIFT, international transfers payment system. So that was designed to do that because it's quick and it's cheaper. So I know from a use case point of view, but
Yeah.
obviously they're in a lawsuit at the moment. But yeah, that's just another example of a coin that has use case, but most of the coins actually don't. So
Yeah.
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 I mean, there's cummies. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, literally, I mean, I don't know, man. Like this whole Bitcoin thing, like most people, like, I mean, look, I don't blame people who went into Bitcoin like early, when everything started, like 10 years ago, whatever. They believed in the technology. They said like, oh, it's the future, and it's a bunch of nerds that really believed in it. But like, it's almost like inspiring even. And now they, some of them became really wealthy, and I don't blame them at all. Like, not at all. But what really, really like pisses me off is like, obviously most people are gonna lose, right? Especially like, why do most people buy into it? They don't care about the tech or the utility. They buy into it because it goes up. And that same behavior, same with stocks, that same behavior makes them lose. And then you have a bunch of these, like in the middle of a fucking bull run, of the biggest bull run, like last year, after the COVID crash, you have a bunch of people just pumping these useless coins, like commies. Are you serious? Dogecoin, like what the hell is going on? And just pumping that and say, oh, just wrap it up in, oh, it's the future, it's this. No, you fucking liar. You're just involved in it. Like, you make money if they buy into this shit. And that makes me sad, like genuinely sad. And that is actually the main reason why I shit so much on Bitcoin. It's not that I like hate crypto or like, I couldn't care less. But I just, like, as an investor, as somebody who looks into market cycles, I even wrote a whole book about this, how to, like, save money smartly and retire on your own terms without relying on the government and without relying on other people, and taking responsibility yourself, and means also taking responsibility of your finances and investing. As a person that is very involved in that, and that wants to help people, that makes me genuinely sad.
That's exactly why eventually I feel that governments will regulate it, and I think it'll be a good thing in a way. The only thing is it will obviously suppress, I guess, maybe the volatility. Obviously, it's super volatile. There's a lot of manipulation. I mean, if someone tweets something and the price drops, that's a little bit crazy. And that's actually what happens in the space.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
almost,
very irresponsible. Like, yeah. Very irresponsible. Yeah.
Exactly. If someone had to tweet, I don't know, if someone tweeted something about Apple, barely move the price.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't, like, if you sell Apple, like, and then people say, oh, it's the same with stocks. Like, so first of all, like, you have to really think twice before buying an individual stock. And then you have to think twice on top of thinking twice buying a stock that doesn't pay any dividends. Because an investment has to, give you some benefit, right? And then they make the comparison between, oh, isn't that Bitcoin, like, when I make an argument that it has no intrinsic value, and then they give me like these useless arguments like, oh, isn't it the same with stocks? No, it's not the same with stocks, because Apple as a company, before it went public, had value. They have products. You can track what they're doing. They're tied to the economy in some way. There's people involved. What is the underlying net, like, utility worth of a coin, of a digital, of a piece of code that doesn't do anything or doesn't do much? I mean, it has even if it has some utility, it's not $39,000 per, like, and that should be alarming to you, right, at that point. But, well,
most
people, right?
No, I definitely agree. So So yeah, um, yeah, that's that, I guess.
Yeah. And I wanted to say something else, but I forgot. But you guys can see my screen, right? Like all the time here. You see my indicator here. Um, yeah. You had some questions. Like you asked me so many questions. Like if El Nino. Like it seemed like you were like unsure what to invest in. I guess because you're from South Africa, there's some good mining companies there. That you were interested in.
Yeah, because obviously, like what happened was with the the Corona crash in March, or mini crash, and basically most things shot up dramatically. Um, so it just feels like everything's overbought at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So inflation's rising, as you said, interest rates aren't. Um, so I just feel like everything's due like a pullback. So I just don't know. Like at the moment, I have real estate as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have gold, and I think I had something else. I can't remember what it was.
But you
But
mean
yeah,
like
just
paper gold, paper real estate, or
yes, ETFs.
ETFs? Okay,
Just give me a sec.
no problem. And we have two more people that joined, Oliver B and Cash. Thank you guys for being so respectful and not just jumping in into the conversation. But the chat's open. Like you guys can chat here, and you can say something if you like. Yeah. So I just wait for him to come back. But there's like something I want to say about being overbought.
I totally agree with him. You know,
Yeah, and
I
yeah, what I wanted to say is like it's not a phenomenon that's happening now. This is happening since 2008. So he's typing something. Okay, so okay, his battery died apparently, so he's logging into the PC. Yeah. Anyways, do you wanna say something before he comes back?
yeah. I mean, you know, when you look at the S&P chart
Yeah.
and go, you know, look at the max
Mm-hmm.
since the COVID pandemic, the curve, it just looks like a Zimbabwe inflation chart, and I don't think that's a good thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like just look at just look at the S&P and look at it since 2008, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like an exponential, like hyperinflation, you know. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this problem has been going on since 2008, and it's like a logarithmic curve, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if there's a slow progression, you know, in the beginning it's as closest to zero, so it change is barely noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually it's gonna grow by thousands and millions, like out of nowhere. That's like a logarithmic scale.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a tenfold increase. And I feel like I don't think we're at a pullback stage. I think we're just at a complete inflation stage.
Yeah. That's the other thing. That's the other thing. Like, is it overvalued, really? Like, is it really overvalued? Like, look at like I mean, I want to wait until he comes back, and talk about this, but
I'm not sure if that makes sense.
I
So you
can't
can't
talk
talk.
unfortunately, but I can. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's totally fine, man. As long as you can hear us. Okay, so yeah, let me just say this, okay? So okay, so there. Wait, he's typing. Let me just see. I can charge phone. Will take a few minutes. No problem, man. No problem.
Take your time.
Take your time. We will just talk, okay? Okay, so just to kind of like add to your question here, okay? All right, so 2008, since then, they should have let the markets, like the markets crashed, okay? But since then, the growth of the stock market is just propped up by the Fed. This growth is not correlated to GDP. It's not correlated to anything. So it's just propped up by the Fed, and especially since COVID, since last year, like Neo said that it's logarithmic. It actually looks really like it is logarithmic. It gets steeper and steeper. You can see that the actual reason why it's growing so much is it's just more prevalent in this last year, and that is not because it grows with GDP, not because all these companies had more profit, had more this. They did, but it's not this. It wouldn't be the same chart as this. Actually, maybe there might be a chart that shows that, but if you look at GDP and all that, it just doesn't correlate to the S&P 500. So in that sense, you're absolutely right. Everything looks overbought, overvalued, and everything, right? But, big but, it's propped up by the Fed, right? So basically, this is all due to money printing, cash outs, handouts, investment into the economy, borrowing, yields, like on and on and on. And it's not correlated to real economy, but it's basically just inflation. And if you look at it from an inflation factor, we just looked at oil prices, crude oil prices, right? So this is the dollar, but look at crude oil prices. So they're at $70, right? Now, if you compare that to, let's say, let's say Vanguard Energy ETF trades at $68.40, okay? This doesn't even make any sense. How can this, like an energy, which is mostly oil, be lower than crude oil? This doesn't even make any sense. So in that sense, if you look at the prices, especially in commodities, right? Is it really overvalued with all this inflation? So I'm still, like, all the indications, like everything I talk about on my blog, everything I talk about on my TikTok, summer demand here, inflation still being here, starting with commodities as inflation goes through the supply chain, oil prices being suppressed by, playing around with the dollar. The Fed's involved heavily in market manipulation as well. Like the Fed's everything that holds the markets together at this point. And if you look at it from that way, there is so much upside to commodities still. It's crazy. I posted a video today on Patreon, which I highly recommend. Some guy there is talking about it, that commodities still have lots of upsides, especially oil. And if you look at it from that perspective, like if you look at commodity prices, like let me just quickly see. Look here, let me just open this up for you guys so you can see. Crude oil up 45% year to date, right? Vanguard Energy ETF up 31%. Like it should be at least on par with what has been grown here. That's just what I think. And look at these crazy prices. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I posted a picture in the general chat. Okay, so
Okay.
El Nino said something.
All right.
Let's read what El Nino said.
Okay.
Do you want me to read it or?
No, I can. So I currently have oil, real estate, gold, but gold is barely moving. Actually, I'm down in gold, feels manipulated and price controlled. Hence, I'm not sure which sector to invest in. I know you said commodities, but it keeps tanking. Palladium, platinum, rhodium. Yeah.
So I posted a picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Orange is earning per share by the S&P, and blue is the S&P 500 index.
Perfect. There you go.
And generally, earnings are higher than the index since the dot-com bubble. Only in recessions the earnings went lower.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest difference ever is now. The share price is vastly higher than the earnings per share. So the S&P 500 is, like, the earnings stayed the same around 100, whereas the S&P price went from 100 to all the way to 140.
Mm-hmm.
So the S&P has a 40% gain when earnings have zero gain. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the past, if you look at earnings, they don't grow. Like when earnings go up, really up, the S&P doesn't, grow that fast with it. I mean, it goes along with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really overvalued. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like earnings are the same as you can see back in 2014 today.
Mm-hmm.
But the S&P is almost double what it was in 2014.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think about the commodities then, like which we all invested in?
I mean, well, what else are you going to get, right? There's no, like, it's that this is inflation, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is inflation if the prices just keep going up, but there's no underlying reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's inflation. So, of course, you're going to buy commodities.
Yeah.
Right now, the stock market is eventually going to come down. And I think the inflation is going to move to commodities.
Yeah, I mean, like, so what I wanted to tell you, El Nino, like, what else can you invest in at the moment? Just like Neo said, like that's one thing. Everything is overvalued. Like, look at the S&P, sure, which is mostly like technologies and stuff. But you want to be like, as we can see here behind me on the screen, right? Um, the the price change in commodity prices for stocks does not reflect the reality of inflation. So the tanking, what you see, all this stuff is people panicking, people not knowing what's going on, expecting rate spikes, and they just didn't realize yet. They're still holding to the belief that inflation is transitory, which it's not. And that is the reason why it's still down. So, looking in the future, the near future, you want to be in commodities before the average person figures out that money is still to be made in the stock market, but not in the stocks they have been making money off for the past 10, 12 years, but in commodities. And if you look at commodity prices in general, which have been, like especially oil, have been heavily suffering in the past 10 years, it's just like I'm 100% sure. Like I was never been so sure in my life. Like I would go all in oil right now. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. So this tanking right now, all this stuff, like I mean, obviously, don't invest the money you don't have. Like, you know what I mean? But whatever you want to invest, like half my investments are in oil at the moment. So I see that some dudes are typing. But the world is doing everything it can to get away from oil products. Yeah, but it isn't. Oil demand is going up. Every year, oil demand is going up still. And if you compare, like, look, let's just compare what happened the last time we had such inflation. Commodities went crazy, right? When was that, Neo? Was that in 2008 as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you look at the like commodity prices, can I put this?
Like the thing is, we didn't have a currency crisis yet, and it's still coming. I think a currency crisis is still coming.
Yeah, we are not there yet. Like you can't like it's not like in your mind it's that inflation was here and commodities didn't rise and it's tanking. But inflation didn't even start. We are at the beginning. This is why I'm saying this. We are at the beginning of feeling the inflation. Like, look at CPI. CPI just went up 5.4% up to right now, and this is the cherry-picked data that has the lowest inflation to show people that inflation is not an issue. So we are just at the beginning of what is going to happen in the long run. That's why your best hedge against inflation, if you invest into equities, are commodities. Mentioned, okay, so I got oil, bought it at good price, up 51% so far. There you go. holding it for now. There you go. You mentioned we will get into $90 to $100 per barrel. Yes, we will. So holding that for now. So I know, for example, platinum, palladium, it is a dropped Corona dip, and it has 3 times since March. I know this because I did a swing trade on rhodium, and I remember the price in March and price before drop 4x'd. So it has cooled off, which is probably an opportunity to jump in. But the question is when now? So, so there is a shock factor in terms of inflation. So you have to look at it this way. So, like for example, look at here, okay, like industrials, like copper, went up, year to date 21%, right? And then monthly went up 2%, 2.4%, but then this week it actually went down. So this is the period where a basic material, which is needed by the industrial sector and by the producers that we as consumers buy from, pass on the heightened prices, and there will always be a cool down period, and especially in basic materials, which we can see, for example, in lumber. Lumber went up 300%. Maybe I can see it here. But it will go back down. It will not go back down to pre-inflation levels. It will still be higher than it was before, but it will not stay, obviously, it will not stay at 50, 100, or 200, 300% inflation. So here we go. Lumber went down heavily. So in that sense, that is definitely transitory, but transitory is what I say, not because it goes down back to pre-inflation levels, but just because it goes back down, which is just the nature of how price changes happen and settle in an economy.
I mean, the thing is, from lumber, it just switched to real estate, right? Like people, they just stopped building houses, and then real estate prices went up, So lumber is, I think, is a really bad example to say that inflation is transitory.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, you can just lower construction, and people stop building homes because of the high lumber price.
But now it will go back up because lumber prices go down, right?
Of course, they're going up again.
You will
right?
see it next week. You will see it Monday,
lumber-
Tuesday. You will see it in the coming weeks. Home construction will pick up, and I said this a few months ago. I said, hey, get into real estate. When lumber went up, before lumber went up, I said get into real estate, and I said sometime in between, as the price settles, because that's just the nature of inflation. You will have a period where home construction will go down slightly, which will be a good time to buy into real estate before it goes back up like crazy. And just to answer Oliver B's question, so he says, true, but I think when Tesla, etc., comes out with a vehicle and that space grows, oil demand will drop. Do you think industrial is a good buy now? But the world is doing everything it can to get away from oil products. Okay, look. So there's two things here, okay? So there's one really big misconception, and that is that we are running out of oil. If we would be running out of oil, I mean, at some point, it's a limited resource, obviously, yes. But we are still designing new fighter jets. We are still, designing planes. We still, oil, we are not running out of oil. What's the biggest oil company in the world? The Saudi company, something Enesco, I think Enesco or something. So they went public with 2% of their company. Why did they do that? They went public in a very critical time when the talks about oil being a limited resource, we're going to run out of it, it's going to be a crisis. They used that opportunity, when people went, we have to go away to renewable, blah, blah, blah. And they went public with only, I think, not even 2% of their company. And why did they do that? So when they go public, they will show to the public the balance sheets and what is available. And they have so much, and it came out. The balance sheets, what they have available, everything came out. They have so much oil in reserves, they don't even know how much they have. And there's still new oil being found in the oceans, everywhere. And also, we don't only use oil. Like, why the demand, UNESCO, exactly, UNESCO, that's the company. The demand of oil is, like, regardless of what people think and say, regardless, the demand of oil only went up and is going up year over year. It doesn't matter if we all drive electric. It doesn't matter if we have electric planes one day. It doesn't matter because our modern economy is built on oil. It's not only used for transportation, not only used for driving around. Oil is in the process of almost every single production in the economy, in the world economy, even in food, in antibiotics, makeups, industrial production, obviously. It's everywhere. Saudi Aramco, that's the company. Look it up. I don't know when. 2018 is when they went public. Look it up. It's like, in that sense, all demand's not going up. And if you look at renewable energies, we cannot run our economy on batteries. You can't just build a Texas-sized solar farm in the Sahara and then supply the entire world with energy. That doesn't even work. That doesn't work from a physics perspective, because for example, I learned, or you probably did as well in high school, how electricity works is very much like water works. So if you understand plumbing and water pressure, that's pretty much how electricity works. It loses, like, you need transistors like to transport this electricity on the way, because it loses its pressure, quote unquote, the further it goes away from the energy source. And then you have these other issues that, the sun's not always shining. They're highly inefficient. Wind, solar, they're very bad for the environment, and they're not lasting very long. You have to change solar, for example, you have to change every 5 years. So you can't just put them in large bodies of water with biodiversity. That's why you see solar farms in lakes, or made up lakes, so the chemicals that they leak do not leach into the waters and destroying our environment. So it's a big problem. I wish we would have some other energy source that we could use effectively. We do. There's other energy source we can use. We can use nuclear power plants. That's the cleanest energy and the most efficient energy we probably ever gonna have until we figure out fusion. But other than that, I just don't see. Or like hydrogen, you could use hydrogen, but hydrogen is very corrosive and very dangerous. You can't use hydrogen for commercial purposes. So other than these two things, it's very difficult to find another energy source that is as efficient as oil at the moment.
And I just want to say, so world, like, demand in oil is going up. Mm-hmm. And what politicians and regulations are doing is shutting down oil production. And you hear you hear often, on TV, they're like, Biden signed a deal so they cannot do fracking, or they cannot use that land. So they're shutting down oil production, but oil demand is going up. So what's going to happen is oil prices are going to rise the more we move towards environmentalism in the short to midterm. And it's just math, right?
Yeah, like here we go. That's a good point, Neo. As they crack down on oil, as they nationalize the oil industry, even in the US at the moment, by bringing all these environmentalists into the boards of directors in these large companies like Exxon, all they're doing is bringing up the price of oil. So that's actually the biggest reason why you want to be in oil at the moment as well. So you have a question here. So what do you invest in currently, and what are your thoughts regarding investment opportunities in the short, medium term? So my biggest investment is Vanguard Energy ETF. It gives good dividends. I made good money, and I will make good money in the coming weeks. But there's always these mini crashes, which will probably happen every month now, whenever the Fed talks about inflation and people are panicking, expecting inflation to be transitory and rushing into cash and bonds. So my
so
second,
for-
yeah, sorry,
so
like
yeah,
that's my
sorry,
biggest
yeah,
investment. So let me just finish
yeah.
this. My biggest investment is energy. My second biggest investment is real estate. And all my third biggest investment on par, almost on par with real estate, is basic materials and the industrials, which, especially industrials, which are still holding, like those companies, poor them, they're holding back those heightened prices and eating them to not pass on those heightened prices to their consumers, to the customers. So we will still see lots of upsides then, because as I said, we're only seeing the beginnings of inflation at the moment. And my fourth biggest investment, what is that? Yeah, I'm in mind medicine as well. It's just a play. It's not really an investment to me. It's just like something I poured in money to, and I'm probably gonna sell whenever I see some profits. And then my fifth biggest investment is good food, and my sixth biggest investment is my own business, which I'm really working on hard. With Neo, actually, together with Neo, we're building a business together.
So for my investment, so my biggest investment is currently is a gold mining company, a gold, copper, and silver mining. So because I believe that their earnings are going to go through the roof for the next quarter, as inflation, I believe, is going to go up. So that's my big long term. So I'm getting some dividends. In the last month, I honestly cashed out a lot of my positions for cash so that I can do some quick trades. I am looking at the falling meme stocks, actually. I really like BlackBerry. A lot of people have lost the sentiment, but I'm thinking of buying a big chunk of BlackBerry once it goes in that $9 region, because I believe it can make big moves. So that's like my quick short-term play. Really, it's actually, so usually I always buy meme stocks once I go down, and it's been easy for me to sell them really quick. And other than that, it's gold miners and quick trades. I do meme stocks or crypto miners. Bitfarm is my favorite for Bitfarm will make moves of 20% in one day. Generally high, very volatile, so it's really good for quick trading.
There you go. So the money is in commodities. That's the baseline. That's the silver lining here. Nice. Bitfarm's a form of crypto. Yeah, it is. It is.
Bitfarm is a crypto miner, a
It's
Canadian crypto
Bitcoin
mining company.
Bitcoin miner, I think. Bitcoin, right?
Yeah. They've already had a big run up. Really, I got them at 50 cents last year, and obviously I made a really good amount of money. And so I sold them at a peak, and then I went in back and forth, and made some gains. So I think those are, like, they're not as volatile as cryptocurrency itself, and you can do quick trades.
Very nice. Teach me. One, just looking at the web page you have up there, so we can invest in copper, rhodium, palladium, platinum here in South Africa. Do you know of platforms that I can invest, that I can get into things like lithium, etc.? No, I don't. Two, so you mentioned oil, real estate, industrials as a sector you invest in, but you mentioned commodities as a great buy. So how come you not invested there? So I'm not sure what you're asking me, because oil, industrials, and basic materials are commodities.
No, but you're not buying the resources themselves. You're buying the companies, right?
Yeah,
That's what he's
so,
saying.
oh, I see. Oh, I see. That's what you're saying. Yes, I don't buy the resources themselves. Like, I don't buy like
Or the
gold
futures, right?
in futures. No, I don't do that. I invest into companies via ETFs. Um, so companies that are commodity companies, you know, and of course, like inflationary sectors like real estate, I invest in too, but via REITs, not like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to. Don't buy specific platinum. No, I don't. I don't do that. No, that's you shouldn't do that either. Honestly.
He
Um.
buys ETFs, yeah.
Yeah. Like. Okay. So is okay. Look. Oh my God. Fuck, man. Look. This is what.
See,
Look.
you're
People.
confusing people. You say commodities, and then they buy gold, and
Yeah. Okay. So when I say commodities, invest into commodities, I don't invest into. Like, I mean, I thought I said it enough. Like, okay, I don't invest into specific companies. That's like number one. Okay, I invest via ETFs. I don't find, look, from an economics perspective, commodities will go up. Okay, so I know for a fact, just based on the numbers I'm seeing and based on the economy and what's happening and inflation, I know that the sectors, real estate, industrials, basic materials, and energy will go up because those are commodities. So I talk about commodities as a sector. If you want to invest into an individual stock, that doesn't, because the sector goes up doesn't mean that individual stock that has a specific commodity will go up, because it's an individual company. You have to look into that individual company's balance sheet. You have to do your due diligence into that individual company. I don't know what is going on in that individual company to make, like, I can't just look, palladium is is a commodity, it's a basic material, so this company is good to invest in. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. And I'm really not advocating for that. I said many, many times on my TikToks, on my lives, and on my blog, which you follow, I said it's not smart to invest into individual stocks unless you know what you're doing. So I invest into sectors via ETFs, so I can invest into the entire sector, because that's what I'm betting on. I want to invest into the sector. I don't want to be a full-time involved in reading through the news and whatever I have to do for my due diligence for a specific company. That's a whole other thing. Right? I hope that makes sense. Okay, here's an example. So here's an ETF on offer, rhodium, commodity. Okay, so you don't invest in specific commodities, but the commodity sector, which makes up gold, silver, platinum, okay, like commodities are, look, I have it up here. Look, trading economics. So these are commodities. Energy is a commodity. Metals are commodities. Agriculture, like soybeans, wheat, lumber. You see the screen, right? Milk, coffee. Those are commodities. Industrials, those are commodities. And then you have these indexes that track those specific commodities. So, for example, what I do, I invest, simple, I invest for energy, I invest into the Vanguard Energy ETF. If I want to invest into basic materials, I go to Vanguard VAW, and invest into that. Okay, so if you go here, for example, Vanguard Energy ETF, let me just show you real quick. Let's have a look at the Yahoo Finance. Okay, look at their holdings. Energy, 99.9%. And then I go into the top holdings, Well, obviously, ExxonMobil, Chevron, and I look at what they're investing in. I'm like, oh, okay, it's all oil. And now I invest into the entire sector because this is the energy sector of the American economy, right? Like you could invest into Exxon, but I'm not investing into like some small company that's in here. I invest in this entire sector. So if one company is performing shit, but 50 other companies are performing really well, then I made a profit because I invested into the entire sector. Yeah, so you don't have to individually bet on those things. So that's really silly to do that. Like I'm not advocating for that. Like
it's risky, so it comes with greater returns, but it can also come with greater losses, right?
exactly.
Right. So you're just hedging, right?
Exactly.
And honestly, going back to what to invest in, I don't think the US dollar is going to be strong. I think the future is in Asia, to be honest. They're betting on crypto. They're right. Because America is just relying on its power and it's
VDE.
Like what else can you invest in, like commodities right now, right? Like it's just nothing else makes sense. I think Goldi is 100% right with betting on commodities, but I'm happy to be proven wrong because that means America is staying alive, and I love America. So that's all. Yeah.
And then he's asking what business are we working on together. So we have an office together. Neo is actually my brother. So we have an office together. We're doing 3D printing and we make mobile games at the moment. And hopefully sometime in August we will be ready to start selling things with our business. And depending on how everything works out for us, I will probably show you guys my business as well, our business. Okay, I got it, and I know why I'm confused. It's because here in South Africa, we don't have these ETFs that invest in the sector, unfortunately, but it's more individual ETFs as a standalone. Must try find a platform to invest in. Very cool, my brother. Designs apps also. Yes, so we make apps. So we made one app which you can get from the App Store. You know what? I'm just gonna make a post on Patreon for you guys so you can see it. But yeah, a new game is gonna come in August, and then September we'll have another game. So in the end of August we're gonna have 2 games which will be live, and 4 apps together. And we do 3D printing, so I offer 3D printing services in my local area, where people can give me their files and I print it for them. And and hopefully like I really want to be careful with the internet. Like I really love you guys, but there's a reason I don't say my name, and I don't really want to like show like what I do, what I work, where I live and stuff. It's because it's the internet, right? But as I go to places, as like in life and with my success and everything, I really want to like get close with you guys, and maybe maybe you can open a new field, like we can talk about business, how to open a business, like what balance sheets I use, how I do my taxes, how I do my accounting. That's a whole new thing, a knowledge I actually have also together with Neo, which I could share with you guys at some point in the future. So yeah, but anyways, yeah, so let's see some, maybe is there some questions here left before we wrap up? No, not really. What's the ticker symbol for Vanguard Energy? VDE. Yeah, so I don't know what's available in South Africa, but
You just don't kill us.
what do you mean, just don't kill us? Not gonna say my name. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I asked you before the show, like how you want to be called, right? Like you want me to call you El Nino, right? Like your Discord name. Um, yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's just like doxing can be really bad, right? Like look, for example, like just a simple example, you understood me wrong, right? That's also why I don't show my investments directly and my returns. Because if I show people, like, I mean, I tell you what I invest in, but I don't want to show you like on screen like my investment. Like that's first of all, that's very private, and second of all, if I do that and I have somebody here in the live show that just buys that stuff because they saw that I have it, and then they lose money because they don't know what they're doing. Um, I don't take blame for that, and I don't want people to do that. And if you look into my comment section on TikTok and all that, it's very prevalent that not many people are knowing what they're doing. Oh, this guy made so much money with this. I guess I have to buy it too, and then they buy that, and then they don't know how it works actually, and then they lose money, and then like, oh, you told me to buy it. No, I didn't tell you to buy it. I just tell you what I'm buying, and I tell you why, and then based on that, you can make your own decisions, hopefully good ones, to make money. So, but I tell you, at the end of the year, you will thank me. You will thank me for telling you to get into commodities. So just find good ETFs that track a specific sector. Like if you want to, like palladium, rhodium, like all these are basic materials. So look for an ETF that tracks basic materials in your country, and look at the companies that ETF has, right? Obviously. But don't invest into individual stocks unless you love to have a second full-time job where you do your due diligence and you know what you're doing and all that stuff. So yeah, my cousin in America, he also super private. He will only chat to me on Signal app, so I understand. Yeah, TikTok Wild West. So can you maybe tell me which platform can one use to find these international ETFs? So I use a platform. I'm actually not from the US. I live in Canada, and I use Questrade. It's called Questrade. It allows me to own American dollars, American stocks, at the same time with Canadian stocks in Canadian dollars. So I can have two accounts on Questrade. So it's really good. They have international stocks there too. If you want to invest internationally, definitely like Euro Pacific is a good investment, as that might be the next main currency of the world as the dollar loses value. But I can tell you now, the dollar will lose value obviously, but as long as people trade with the US, and the US being the reserve currency of the most of most countries in the world, the dollar, even with all this money printing, as long as all the other countries print more, the dollar will still hold its value compared to other currencies in the world, especially to the Chinese yuan and euro. So one last question from me, then I must go. Yeah, with you. Okay, one more. All right. And also, I'm gonna upload this on Patreon before I'm gonna upload it on YouTube. So if there won't be a crash anytime soon, one thing I do know is stock market, like we said earlier, is super overbought, especially the S&P 500, Nasdaq, etc. So how much further it can really go without a major correction? So crashes and corrections, you can't foresee, unfortunately. Like you have to be a fortune teller or God to know when the next crash or correction will happen. So I can't tell you when or what. But the S&P being overbought, a lot of the markets are overbought. That is correct. But at the same time, don't forget, we have lots of inflation. So if you factor in the actual inflation, as we saw, for example, in commodities, is it really that overvalued? Especially commodity sector is not, in my opinion. But if you look at tech and all that stuff, sure, might be even a bubble. I don't know. Yeah, sure, it will pop at some point. But unless the Fed makes a major move through rate hikes or whatever, which will not happen this year, or maybe through announcing a new cryptocurrency like a crypto dollar, unless there's not a major move, more and more people will realize that the money is to be made in commodities, and commodities will rise again after this 10-year downturn. So it's a good thing that you are in commodities early, or relatively early. It's not too late to be in commodities. This was awesome. Nice to get to know you a bit better, and your brother too. We should do this once a month or so. Yes, so that's the whole point of the $10 tier on Patreon. Originally, I thought I can get all the obviously with $5 you can get my blog that I really try to write some good stuff for you guys there, and my market updates. But then for $10, I wanted to have like these hangouts at least once a month, which then also make more content for other people to get into like our circle basically. So that was the original idea, but I just don't get any people. So and now I feel bad for I have one person, she's a $10 tier, her name is Elaine. So she's in a private chat with me, the Lion chat, where she can only talk to me. She's the only person there at the moment. But originally I thought that my Lion chat would be this show, which we just did today. So I don't know how we'll handle it in the future with Patreon and all that, but I'll figure out something. I mean, I got rid of the $1 one. You can still get into $1 tier on Patreon, but you won't be able to see my market updates anymore. You have to be like a $5 tier or so. I think because crypto is a thing on TikTok, hence the reach is prob builder. But I know TikTok now cracking down on that. Yeah, it's exactly. I was going to say maybe to grow your base to add in crypto in your vids. Yeah, like, I mean, I do, but I shit on crypto. So maybe I should say something positive about crypto once in a while. Yeah, maybe you're right. I just can't think of anything. Well, anyways, guys, it was super cool, you guys, today, and thanks for joining. Let's do this again. Be yourself, most important thing. Awesome, thank you. Yeah, exactly. I try. I'm just gonna, just do my thing. I made a funny video today. It's like it became like really famous, like the type of video became famous on TikTok. I made one today. I don't have that much of a following, but I'm trying really hard. And I'm really trying really hard to get you guys some good content, especially on Patreon too. And you guys can learn something about economics and how these things work. Yeah, like always, please, for everyone who's watching today, follow me on Patreon. The link is in either here on YouTube below, or if you follow me on TikTok, it's in my bio. You can see my market updates, my blog, and the $10 a month tier. You can join this show, which you just saw, just like El Nino did and Neo did. Thank you so much, guys. We can talk about these things, and yeah, it's good for me too, so I'm not in an echo chamber, so I can hear what other people say. Like, you invest in crypto, I don't. So I can hear like more, so I can hear more sides of people and what they're doing, and we can, like talk it out and find something together to come out of this and grow our wealth together. So yeah, follow me on Patreon, follow me on TikTok, follow me on YouTube. Get my book, A Guide to Almost Foolproof Investing, which I show on TikTok right now. It's basically, if you're new to investing, everything that I wish I knew, I wrote in this book. Everything I wish I knew when I started investing, I wrote in here. and put it together. Short, no, like, like a lot of these books, they talk about a lot of random shit that doesn't interest me, and then you go to the gist of it, and it's just like a few pages, but the book is like 100 pages long. But all I wanted to know is in like just 10 pages within the book, not with this. A guide to almost foolproof investing, 3 sections: how to get your shit together to invest, how to get your financials right. The second part is how to build a portfolio, and the third part is sector rotation, a little introduction to sector rotation, the strategy I use to invest. So a guide to almost foolproof investing, guys. All right, thank you so much for the show today. It was great. Cash joined too, but he didn't say much. El Nino, thanks for joining. Let's talk about the next show, hopefully like sometime next month. And let's see what happens to markets this week.
Okay,
All
thanks
right.
a lot.
Oh, thanks.
Oh,
yeah.
Cash was here too. Of course,
Yeah,
man.
I'm here. All
Nice,
yours.
nice.
Just listening to the big brains talking, so it's good.
Good. Hopefully you can come next time as well.
All right.
And we can hear your take. All right, guys. So that's it for today. Take care, everyone.
Nice to meet you guys. Take care.